was starting to show up on this trade. And ask yourself the question, should I be paying attention to this? Well, take a look at this price level here. 4384. Take a look at it. What do you suddenly recognize about it? It's almost as if somebody's came along with hedge trimmers and just trimmed anything that goes below that bottom edge, right? So you see there's a big block sell trade that stops immediately, and then 3 Voltics kick off at that price there. You saw the same kind of thing happening originally at this price, didn't you? In the early stages, exactly the same kind of thing happened right here, in that area there, at a price of 85.5. And then you saw this happening here at a price of 84s, 3 Voltics. And all of a sudden you start to recognize, wait a second, something's going on here. There's a flat bottom edge here that's probably going to get tested to see just exactly what this is all about. Well, let's take a look at what happened next. 300 contracts trade into the same price. Price still doesn't go any lower. And let's see what happened next. 50 contract buy with a refreshed order book. 50 contract buy with a refreshed order book. 80 contract buy with a refreshed order book. 20 contract buy with a refreshed order book. And all of a sudden you start saying to yourself, wait a second, we've now got this exact same storyline at exactly the same price running through this area. This has become an incredibly important price point for me. Buy side above it, sell side below it, to try and figure out what the hell this 500 contracts here, plus somewhere in excess of another 250, 300 contracts here. So that's about a 1,000 lot buy trade. So there's about 1,000 lot trade at that one single price. It's a fairly reasonable, meaty S&P trade considering it's pre-market, right? Considering it's pre-market, this is a fairly interesting trade narrative to be very, very mindful of going forward. So we want to make sure we mark that level. Now, obviously, when the price goes higher, I'm thinking to myself, the probability is we're going to come back at least and test back into this. And that's when I shouted out the level. I says, look, guys, pay very, very close attention to this paper buyer at 84. So what happened? Well, the price came down to 84s. And we got this enormous sweep through 84s. Obviously, a lot of people saw 84s and thought to themselves, you know what, I'm going to buy 84s. Stupid, because we haven't seen it being tested yet. So when the price comes down to test it, you can see what happens here. We get all that sell pressure coming back in to try and hold the price below the 84s. Something's a knot. Something doesn't stack up here. And obviously what happened next was we got this very, very nice sell away from the 84s. Very nice sell away from the 84s. You see that break lower at that stage? Absolute perfection, isn't it? Absolutely perfect. And you can see it drops all the way down until we start seeing some very, very big activity buying coming in at these lower prices around about the 78s. Well, that's 5 full points. Crazy, right? Crazy. And obviously when it comes back up to 84s, look at what happens. The price stops, the price stops, the price stops. And when it comes back up to 85s, again, what happens? The price stops, the price stops. It's such an incredible inflection price now, isn't it? And yet you would have been able to trade again. It trades 85s and it stops, and it trades again and it stops. See it? And then it trades again and it stops and it presses away from that same price level. So when you're starting to recognize the quality of that information as possible scalp level, as a possible trade level, you're simply recognizing it and dealing against those elements. Now, obviously what happens is that it comes back up to test it again. You're thinking, well, every time we get these lower lows, is it getting accepted lower? No. It's not getting accepted lower at all, is it? So there's no selling below this current capper price area here. So you know that this is going to be doing the exact opposite in reverse. You're going to get a sweep to the upside in this trade after that top right hand hold. And obviously the price then sweeps to the upside after a top right hand hold, as you would have expected with this rejection here and with this rejection here. And obviously from that point onwards it goes into buy side phase of 84s, right? So you're long at 84s. You're ready to make some easy money. and the price comes back into the 84s, gives you another thing about this massive liquidity. Look at this pressure coming in below the 84s again. And you think, okay, they're trying to take it back down again, so let them take it back down again. You've already seen a very, very nice buy-side reversal, so let them take it back down again. They take it back down. They don't quite get the bottom edge. Turn it back round, and obviously now you're ready to get busy off the 84s, and obviously that comes into the cash market open, and we get this big rip off that 84 print from the cash market open. We've got a big wholesale price, of course, remember, at 95, which we warned you about on the tweets. If you recall, the tweet was 93 to 95, so we already knew about that 93.95 print. So you're not exactly caught by surprise by the fact that you're looking at this trade. You're already aware about this trade. You've already been watching this trade, 93.95, and you're saying, you know what, let's take some money. 93.95, there's your profit take right there. Price comes back down to the 84s again. Another jam trade just here. Start looking for the book coming back in behind. You start bidding back in behind that jam, and she goes again away from that price. Beautiful. And from that point onwards, obviously we've struggled initially to make any progress against that 95 print. You can see that the high price was 97s. You can see the 95 print did really provide that very, very difficult level to work with. And we came all the way back down into the same previous level again. Another opportunity to buy back into it, and another test back into the 95s. And when we finally turn the market bid, obviously that's it, game, set, and match. Yeah, game, set, and match. Trade's finished. The level gave up. The 95s finished off the trade. So you're trading 85 to 95 as a bracket. And from that 85 to 95 storyline, we've now seen a big lift off through the top edges, and that's it, game over for the sellers for the time being. Very, very simple. Two key bracket levels. Working against those different ideas, working against the different narratives, and eventually a very, very nice break to the upside for what is now a measure, of course, from the 85s to the 95s, and from the 95s you're going to go to 0.5, right? Pretty sensible stuff if you think about it. So you're going to be going up to 0.5s, and there's the 0.5 right there. And you can already now recognize how easy it is to start structuring your thoughts around these easy to see kind of structural bracket levels, and life doesn't get much easier than that.